Meine Damen und Herren, kommen wir zum abschließenden Vortrag des Kongresses. Darf ich Sie bitten, die Plätze einzunehmen, damit wir starten können. Nach all dem, was wir in den 2 Tagen gehört haben, bin ich mir nicht mehr so sicher, ob die Ansage unseres nunmehrigen Referenten wirklich stimmt. There is no app for happiness. Möglicherweise ist das im Zuge so mancher Entwicklungen und technologischer Erfindungen, die da auf uns warten und die wir in Ansätzen gehört haben, nicht doch demnächst möglich. Jedenfalls ist es das aber nicht, und Max Strom, ein internationaler Redner, Trainer und Buchautor, wird uns das jetzt abschließend darlegen, was das bedeutet, dass es eine solche App nicht gibt. Er ist Lehrer im Bereich gewaltfreier Kommunikation und persönlicher Transformation, hat also eine Methode entwickelt, um persönliche Veränderungsprozesse bei Menschen zu bewirken und ihnen zu mehr Wohlbefinden zu verhelfen. Und darüber wird er jetzt sprechen. Max Strom, may I ask you for your speech, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice introduction. Hello. I imagine you must be a little bit tired now, huh? Yeah. No, good. I'm so happy to be here. Really, this subject interests me so much. You know, when I was asked to speak, the primary difficulty I understand that many of you have is burnout. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But first, I want to thank Marcos and Michaela for inviting me here. It's a great honor to speak to you all. And we've heard a lot about, for example, humanizing technology. Huh? But this talk is going to be about rehumanizing ourselves. And rehumanizing, of course, your clients, your guests, which you do already. To me, this is really, this business that you are in is the front line of this issue of technology versus human behavior. For example, yesterday when I heard my American colleague speak and how when he comes to a hotel, he doesn't want to talk to anybody. I am not this way. I actually do want to talk to people, but of course I agree with him on not having to sign papers, 100%. But we've covered that. So people who come to hotels quite often are exhausted and not in the best of moods. And so it's your job, as you know, to try to affect them in a positive way, because ultimately it's not the building or the view that brings people back, it's you, it's your staff. And I talk about the ill effects of technology on human beings all over the world, because this is a real global issue. I help people to understand the causes of and solutions to anxiety and post-traumatic stress syndrome. And some of us in this room right now have post-traumatic stress syndrome. You don't have to be a soldier to have this, yeah? You just have to have a difficult life sometimes. So what I do is I talk to medical groups, doctors, I talk to corporations, I do one-to-one sessions. And I'm telling you this because just a few weeks ago, I spoke at a hospital. The doctors invited me to come and speak to them, so I had about this many physicians in one room. And the reason I was there is because they don't know what to do with their own anxiety. And I thought, wow, we're really in trouble, aren't we? When doctors invite an outsider who is not a doctor to help them because they knew that I could, it means that they have run out of ideas. And it means that the medication that they prescribe for themselves is not working well enough. Yeah, nobody wants to live on medication the rest of their life for depression or anxiety or sleep dysfunction. So let's begin with the big picture. There are 2 major trends happening worldwide. One has been well covered, the digital information revolution. That's been well covered in this conference. The other one is the decline of happiness worldwide. Did you know this is a worldwide problem? The statistics for the use of antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs, and sleeping pills is going like this. And I think it's going at about the same trajectory as the growth in technology. And I think that to ignore that is foolish. Because the thing that I was thinking yesterday when I was listening to the talks was, why are we all assuming that we have to use all of this? Why is there an assumption that everyone just has to do it? Because a company creates it. There are lots of things that we don't use now. My favorite example actually is the bicycle. I was in Utrecht, Netherlands recently, and as you know, there are a lot of bicycles in Netherlands. And I was thinking to myself that this is a Victorian era invention. You know, the first bicycle, mid-1800s, yet we still use it. Now, if you look at your culture here in Austria or the Netherlands, people are fit, I think, compared to other countries that don't use bicycles so much. So, does the automobile get you there faster than a bicycle? Yes. Does it keep you dry from the rain? Yes. Can it go much longer than you? Yes. It has all the benefits. So why are we using the bicycle? Because it makes us feel good, and it's exercise. Yeah? And it's a lot less expensive, of course. But we still have an advantage using the bicycle for our health. It keeps us healthy. The car doesn't. Just look at my country. Countries where we use the car, we don't walk, and we don't use the bicycle, we get bigger and bigger and bigger. So even though this invention is an antique, it's still used and still should be used. So some things from the past we need to keep and hold on to. This is my point. Not just inventions, but behaviors. Now, statistics, I'll just take a moment with this. You're going to think I'm making this up. You're not going to believe these statistics. But in the United States now, it is estimated that 50% of our culture, 50, has anxiety, or a severe anxiety disorder. 35% are taking medication, and 15% drink alcohol or smoke marijuana or something else. Not everybody takes the medication, but they assume now it's 50%. Half of our population is unhappy. If you say, I need antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs, you are unhappy by definition. And when I asked a psychiatrist recently who I met with at this physicians conference, which age groups? And she said, all age groups, including children, 50%. This is, to me, a tragic statistic and really one of the greatest catastrophes of our time. The fact that as first world nations get wealthier and wealthier, we don't have a happy life. And so obviously we need to make a few changes, I think. Fortunately, some people are paying attention now. I spoke recently about this at the World Government Summit last year to some politicians and heads of state and so on, so we'll see what happens next. But I don't think I know anyone who wants to live on drugs the rest of their life. Do you? No? I don't either. Now, I want to define happiness because it's the title of my book, Hapiness. What is happiness? Usually when we talk about happiness, we refer to pleasure. But I think the true and deepest form of happiness is meaning. Meaning. Once you become an adult, at some point, you learn this. Because many things which give us pleasure, the next day make us feel worse. Isn't that true? Sometimes it comes in bottles. And then you have to get the hangover elixir at the juice bar. I saw one there. So some things that give us pleasure make us feel worse the next day. But when we participate in something which gives us meaning, this is the true happiness. Because people will actually give up pleasure for happiness sometimes. To work for a politician for free, to travel to Africa to help people who are poor for free. You'll do work for no pay, a bad hotel that you'll stay in, bad food, because it gives you meaning. So to me, the true definition of happiness is that which gives us meaning, because as you know, pleasure comes and goes from life. Now, the digital revolution has, of course, produced extraordinary results, artificial intelligence and robotics, which we've seen here. Also, nanotechnology, biotech. And it's been predicted now that by 2030, if I need a new heart, it is likely that they'll be able to make me one, to print one, a 3D printer with tissue. You've probably seen this on television. They make human bladders now and skin and tracheas. They can do this now for you. But it's predicted that by 2030 or so, if we need a heart, we get a brand new heart, human heart, made out of my tissue for my body. This is fantastic. I'm excited about this. Good use of technology. But will biotechnology ever repair a broken heart? This is an important question, you see. This is the difference. I assume that when I get my new heart someday in 30 years, I'll write a song that says, she broke my heart, and so they printed a new one. This is going to be a hit single. So one problem can be fixed with biotech, and the other one can't. And this is what we need to remember about digital technology, is it's super good to help us and serve us in some ways and catastrophic in other ways. You have a smartphone now. I can see some of you are holding it this very second. Has your smartphone, this extraordinary device, helped you to communicate with your teenagers or your spouse better? I'm not saying connect you more, of course, anytime, anywhere, 24 hours across the world, but has it improved the depth of your conversations? I believe there is no app for happiness, and I think that digital technology will both serve us and harm us unless we decide, you and I, how to use it. I'm not anti-technology. I'm looking at a laptop right here. But when a company creates something like a smartphone, like a robot, or let's take robots out of it, a kiosk. When I go to the airport, there's a kiosk. I just see it as another way that the airline wants me now to be an employee for them. I now work for the airline. I go in now and I check in myself, and now they've improved it. Now it also gives me a baggage tag, so I can put that on myself as well. So when one of the helpers was showing me how to do it, I said, where would you like me to load it? Should I load it directly to the plane? It just seems like step by step, we're becoming employees of these big companies. You go to the grocery store, supermarket, and they have the self-checkout. Yeah. If it's self-checkout, they should charge less money, because now I work for them. Now, why are we less happy? Why are we less happy? We're less happy because, for one reason, we are exhausted. I understand France was the first country to pass a law that says when you leave work at the end of the day, your employer cannot contact you. Now, I know in your business this is different, but I think this is a good start, don't you? And it's a shame that we have to make a law for this to happen. But other than people who are older and retired, I don't know anyone who says I have a lot of time. Everyone I know is busy and behind, trying to catch up. Yeah? Emails, text messages, social media, all of it is too much. And everyone says it and everyone knows it, but everyone is afraid of being left behind if we don't use it. But I think going back to an 8-hour day would be a good place to start, and for employers to think about this. I mean, the workers who worked with their hands around 1900, they had to fight for rights to only work a 10-hour day because they were work 12, 13 hours. Now it seems like we're okay with the workers, the manual laborers, but for the white-collar strata of society, we're right back to where we were. We will be worked to death unless we decide we're not going to be. So this has to be policy within your own company, so we don't have to make a law. So I'm not saying in the hospitality business that everyone stops working at 5 o'clock. Your customers need help. But I think you understand my bigger point. So we are exhausted, and we are starving for intimacy. Now, the people who create the humanoid robots like Pepper, who I spoke with yesterday, and I enjoyed very much, the humanoid robots are extraordinary because of the great study of human interaction. I think probably people who build humanoid robots know more about humans now than psychologists, especially regarding communication. The knowledge they have now is unbelievable. And one of the things I want to share with you is that 90% of human interaction is nonverbal. Did you know that? 90%. Yes, in your business you should, huh? You should know that. That's an important statistic. So an email is 10% of a conversation. A text message is 10%. And the smiley face on the end is not the same as a real face, is it? Do you think a poet will ever write about how he used to gaze into the eyes of his lover's emojis? Can you imagine the next Shakespeare writing about this? All I could think about all night long were her emojis. First the heart, then the smiley face. Yeah, so what happens and why they're humanizing robots is we need to trust them. And human beings decide if they can trust each other in about 2 seconds by the facial expression, the body language, and the tone of voice of who's speaking to us. It's quite magical. For example, if I email my friend and at the end I say, "How are you doing now?" because I know you've had a hard time, and he emails me back and he says, "Great," smiley face, he could be lying and I don't know. But if I see him in person and I say, "How are you doing?" and he says, "Great," and I think to myself, he's lying to me. So I'm going to push more. I'm going to say, "Come on, tell me what's going on." You see? So we need facial recognition between human beings to make us feel safe. The trust leads to feeling safe, to know whether we like each other, want to have a conversation, to know if anything's troubling us. And the troubling thing then about social media is that's gone. So anxiety is going up. One of the central causes of anxiety, according to psychiatrists, is isolation. And this is the number one complaint that psychologists and psychiatrists are getting from their clients. I feel isolated, I feel lonely. And when a traveler comes to your hotel, especially a business traveler, not the family on vacation, but the business traveler, there's a lot of loneliness in this profession of traveling. And the face of the right staff member can change your experience entirely. And I know you know this. I'm telling you something that's on your training manual that you give to your employees. But I want to remind you of this because now you're thinking maybe we need robots. Yeah. And I don't think that this can be replaced, at least not yet, maybe in 10 years. Now, another thing that you might not have heard about before or thought about is the fact that as a culture, Northern European, American, North American, and former colonies, like Australia and so on, we're a funny culture when it comes to expression of emotions, aren't we? Yeah? We are actually taught, verbally and non-verbally, not to express certain emotions. And so we are undereducated on how to express certain emotions. And if we feel a lot of stress, and if we feel the anxiety coming, our tendency is not to talk about it too much, but to try to push it down instead. Now, in case you didn't know this, one of the central causes of anxiety is the suppression of grief. Now, I understand in the Deutsch language, there is no word for this. It's like Trauer, I think, is the closest word. I know I butchered the pronunciation. I apologize. But yeah, this is the closest word you have. It's different than sadness. Sadness comes and goes. You can be sad in the morning, very happy by 11. Yeah? But let's say you lose someone that you love so much, dies like this, unexpectedly. Then this feeling comes up. But in our culture, we're not really allowed so much to express it. And in fact, people will stay away from us sometimes. They'll say things like, he needs to be alone now. Leave her alone, she's going through a hard time. When in fact, this is the opposite of what we need. And so when we suppress grief, it comes out as a different emotion. It comes out as anxiety. Let me give you an example. I spoke to a group like this of CEOs about the same subject. And then when I left the building to get a taxi, one of them followed me outside. And he said, may I talk with you for a second? And I said, certainly. He said, I'm 58 years old. I'm a CEO of a big company. He wouldn't say which one. And he said, I have a new problem. I'm 58 years old, and for the first time in my life, I have panic attacks. I said, panic attacks? He said, yes, big ones. I'll get a headache suddenly, my neck gets stiff, and I'm in a board meeting, and I want to run screaming out of the room, which I don't, but I want to. He says, I need to fix this. Does this sound familiar? Have you heard someone talk like this before? To me, when I listen to this, I hear many things missing from this conversation already. He doesn't say what caused his anxiety. And his idea is, I need to fix this, not I need to heal this. It's an entirely different way of looking at life. So I asked him an obvious question. I said, so how long have you had this problem with panic attacks? He said, like he wasn't sure, 6 months. And so then I asked him the big question. I said, well, what happened 6 months ago? And he said, what do you mean? This is a diversionary tactic. This means he doesn't want to answer the question. Yeah? I said, death, divorce, bankruptcy. And he went, my brother died 6 months ago. I said, you were close to your brother, weren't you? He said, yes, very close. I said, you're a workaholic, aren't you? And he smiled, he said, yes. And I said, well, I'll bet the day of your brother's funeral, after the funeral, you went back to work. And then he thought I was Gandalf. Because, like, how could he see this, you know? But this was obvious to me. And I said, I have good news for you. You don't have a panic attack disorder. You have a grief problem. By not grieving for your brother, by pushing it down, it needs to come up. It's called the process of grieving, which has to happen to be a healthy person. By not doing this, it comes out in a new way, panic attacks. And he went, oh, what do I do about this? And I said, well, I'm giving some breathing workshops tomorrow downtown. And he said, breathing? It was like I had asked him to hula hoop with me. And afterwards, we're going to paint each other's faces. This is the look he gave me. And I said, I know it sounds strange, but learning to breathe with certain patterns makes you able to control the autonomic nervous system. Put simply, fight, flight, or freeze. You can control this with breathing patterns. So he came to the workshop. I taught him some simple things. And then he wrote to me 3 months later, no panic attacks, 90 days, none. And he said, some grief though. I said, well, that's good, because the only way out of grief is through it. It's part of the human process. And incidentally, in case no one has told you, it's going to happen again. The older you get, I'm going to be the first one to tell you this in your life. The older you get, the more loss you're going to experience. So this is an important thing to learn about. But we aren't taught so much. So I'm going to ask you a question now that I ask everybody in all these conferences. I'm going to ask you a question, and raise your hand if the answer is yes. When you were a teenager or even a child, were you taught specifically how to, in a healthy way, handle grief, your grief or the grief of others? Were you taught this? Raise your hand. One hand. Isn't it odd when you think about it? I think it's extremely odd. Here you have a primary emotion that human beings experience that devastates us. And as we get older, we get more of it, yet we're taught nothing about it. It would be like our entire society knows nothing about first aid. So I go to a friend's house and I'm helping chop vegetables. I cut my hand, I'm bleeding all over, serious bleeding. And I say, what should I do? He says, I don't know, but go in the other room and bleed out because you're frightening the children. So just go bleed in there, and I'm sorry you're going to die now. I mean, it's not so different, really. We're saying, you're feeling grief, I don't know what to do, so just stay home and call me when you feel better. Go through it by yourself. Yeah. But our needs as human beings have not changed. Even to cry, which is forbidden in society outside, yeah? To cry. Think about why a baby cries. A baby cries when it wants to be held. So a large human being, the babies that get to be this big, they also cry when they want to be held. This is what the crying is. It's an expression of, I want someone to bond with me, to make me feel better. But when a human being, an adult, hears another adult crying, we go the opposite direction. And so it makes the whole process worse for us. So this is something I think in our culture that we need to change, to look at and to change, and start training people, seriously training people to handle in a healthy way grief. So I want to ask you a question. If I may. Let's assume you're going to meet all of your goals. You're going to succeed totally financially. You're going to meet all of your goals. Let's assume this. What will there be left of you to enjoy them? Would you recommend that your children live, work like you do? Have the same work-life balance that you have? Would you recommend, say, daughter, son, this is how you should live. Watch carefully. Work 16 hours a day. And when you start to feel really terrible, just take some pills. Yeah? You see what I'm saying? But we are teaching them to live like us. They watch us very carefully. So to me, this is really the heart of the problem, and the good news is you are on the front line of teaching the rest of society what is important about human interaction. I completely agree that we need to implement some modern technology to streamline, to make your life easier, to make the owners and the staff's life better, easier, less redundant, less Victorian era, so that the staff can do their more important work, which is to make your guests not just feel at home, but actually think about changing their behavior, improving their behavior, becoming healthier. Yeah? So for example, I'm so far off my notes, I can't believe it. I mean, like pages and pages off it. But I wanted to say something to you here. If I come to a hotel, and I go to about 45 cities a year, 45 cities, usually 2 retreats that I give myself, so I'm a little bit familiar with hotels. Really nice ones and not so nice ones. And I agree that when I arrive, I don't want a big list of everything in the hotel that has no meaning to me right now because I was on a 14-hour flight with delays, etc. I only want to sleep right now. But what if someone said, you know, how long was your trip? 14 hours. You must be exhausted. We have massage here. If you want a massage before you go to sleep, I'll see if I can arrange something. Or even a 15-minute foot massage will help you sleep better. Did you know that? In the morning, when we wake you up, we're going to see about rehydrating you. It's basically more like a true spa mentality right at the reception, where when you feel like, I don't just get a bed, they're looking after my health now. And you could even address saying, you're probably in a terrible mood. It's okay. I would be too if I just traveled like you. I'm telling you some things you already know, but I don't hear these things very often. What I just said, I've never heard. And you're thinking, you haven't been to my hotel. Which is probably the case with some of your 5-star hotels in the Alps. This is a normal thing, but worldwide, I have to say, this never happens. It seems like it's all about my passport, credit card, and the paper forms. Then I get the big list of what I can do tomorrow, and then to tip as many people as possible between there and my room. That's what it feels like in most hotels, yeah? But what makes it different, for example, the hotel where I'm staying now, I come in and there's a young man with a calm demeanor, smart, helped me. I had the opposite of what I just expressed. Very good experience based on him. I remember his name. I don't remember anybody else's name there, just his. As I mentioned before, the business traveler is lonely. And so to be met with friendship and someone who's looking after your health and well-being is momentous. I think I had my best service experience 3 weeks ago in the Kingdom of Bahrain. I went to a hotel, which is also here in Deutschland, and the service was unbelievable. And one of the things was every single staff person I saw addressed me by my name. They knew my name, which shocked me every time. And they all were happy. They all seemed happy. And they wanted to talk to me for 2 minutes. The next day, if I ate in the restaurant, they remembered what I ate yesterday. But it wasn't just one person. It was the whole staff. And it made a difference. I'll definitely go back there. And I will go to that chain because it's a worldwide chain. And I had never done it before. So please, when you look at technology, what you're going to incorporate and what you're going to forget, try to just serve you, your staff, and your guests. And don't be so concerned about the technological companies, their needs. Yeah? Because companies generally don't say, for example, the maker of my laptop has never sent me an email and said, Max, we've noticed that you're using the laptop too many hours a day. We suggest you use it less. You know, that your phone company doesn't call you and say, you really want to send this many text messages every day. You know this is bad for your neck and your eyes. So they're not looking after us. Don't forget that. It is a business, they want to sell us a product. So please do consider carefully if that product serves you or if you are serving the companies. Also, I have to say, I think you should have breathing classes in all your hotels. Because breathing is such a simple technology. And people say, you mean just breathing? No, I mean breathing exercises. It's a certain way to breathe so that you change how you feel immediately. I have a breath work that will help you fall asleep if you have insomnia, or breath work that helps you if you're depressed, or breath work for anxiety, as I've told you. Not difficult to learn. Easier to learn than yoga, which I also teach. And so, in other words, if you had this on your television screen or someone who could teach it in the hotel, it would be fantastic because it's something people could take home with them. So I'd like to do a breathing exercise, with you now. And I know some of you are already thinking, and hula hoop also? What else are we going to do? No, it's a simple breathing exercise, and it's just one that I teach, and you can do it sitting in your chair. It's very simple. So if you would, take your back off your chair. And put your hands on your legs. Do not cross your arms. Do not cross your arms or put the arms like this on your lap. Turn them this way so your chest is more open. This is going to be really easy. The idea is that this is going to make you more calm in 3 minutes. You can also use this exercise tonight in bed to try to go to sleep, same exercise. So some of you may have done it. It's called the 4-7-8 breathing pattern. Raise your hand if you've done this. 4-7-8. 1, 2, good. All right, now you'll all have done it. So first thing, do you have room to put your hands on your side ribs? Yeah, because I want you to feel your rib cage. So not here, here. Sit very tall. Breathe any way you want, but make your chest big. Make the chest move out this way, like so. Till your chest is huge. And then exhale, sit even taller. Good. So that's how we're going to breathe. You can relax your arms. Breathe into your side ribs. And this is a timed sequence. So it's 4 in, hold for 7 beats, exhale for 8, 4, 7, 8. Inhale, einatmen, 4, halt, 7, ausatmen, 8. Alles klar? Okay, this is the speed, like a metronome, yeah? Now, sit tall. Remember, you'll breathe into your side ribs. And quick exhale to prepare. Now inhale 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Halt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Completely empty 8. Tall. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Halt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale deeper. You can. 1, 2, 3, 4. Halt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 8, 2, 3, 4. Completely. Squeeze it out. All air out. Stop. Inhale 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 8, 2, 3, 4. Tall spine. 6, 7, 8. One more. Inhale 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Halt. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale, exhale, and exhale. Breathe naturally. Notice how you feel. Something that you might not know about holding the breath. When you hold it, your blood pressure, if it's high, normalizes, and your heartbeat slows down. In 10 seconds, your heartbeat will drop 15 beats per minute. So if your blood pressure is up, your heart is up from stress, you do this at your desk. You can just pretend like you're typing and do this exercise, and it will help calm you. And at nighttime, to help fall asleep, do the exercise in bed. If you need to do more than 4 or 5, do 10. But usually I fall asleep by 5. I'm asleep, sound asleep. So that's just one example that only 2 of you knew. Everyone should know this. To me, this is something every single human being should know. Now, I'll finish by saying that the things that you can communicate without technology, and I think should, are trust and respect, service, of course, and kindness, true kindness. You are on the front lines of this issue. Trust yourself. Going forward, trust yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Max Strom. Thank you. So this is actually brave to do exercises to fall asleep with us, but as far as I see, nobody did. Thank you for this interesting talk, final talk on this Congress. Von Max Strom gibt es dieses Buch, das Sie da gesehen haben, auch am ÖHV-Stand. So Sie Interesse haben, können Sie sich im Anschluss dann eines holen. Für die eine oder andere Frage wird er auch noch zur Verfügung stehen. Wie immer am Ende blicken wir ganz kurz zurück, aber natürlich auch schon ein Jahr in die Zukunft. Und dazu bitte ich Sie, Frau Präsidentin, auf die Bühne zu kommen.
Ein bisschen kleiner. Auch der tollste Kongress findet leider ein Ende. Es war wirklich ein ganz toller Kongress und ich habe mich sehr gefreut, dass ich euch alle hier getroffen habe. Danke für euer Kommen. Ich möchte mich wirklich für euer Interesse bedanken, für euer Dasein und auch für eure Unterstützung bei dem Kongress. Ich wünsche mir von euch ganz viele Likes, Ich bitte euch darum, nicht nur in den sozialen Netzwerken, sondern auch so von Kollege zu Kollege, erzählt es einfach weiter. Ich hoffe, wir sehen uns auch beim kommenden Kongress. Und alles, was ihr in diesen letzten 2,5 Tagen gesehen habt, was mich auch wirklich mit sehr viel Stolz erfüllt, muss ich sagen, ist einem Team zu verdanken, das keine Eventagentur beschäftigt, das niemanden von außen da dazu nimmt, sondern das ist das Team der ÖHV, das das ganze Jahr für euch da ist, das in einer unglaublichen Anstrengung und mit einer unglaublichen Passion und Professionalität diesen Kongress jedes Jahr vorbereitet. Und ich möchte stellvertretend dafür der Barbara Diallo-Strobel danken und möchte sie bitte zu uns herausbitten. Und ich möchte auch die Margot Leitner zu uns bitten, die die beiden Abendveranstaltungen auch mit so unglaublich viel Freude und Einsatz geleitet hat. Bitte seid doch so lieb und kommt mal einen Sprung heraus. Wirklich eine absolute Sensation. Ich bin so stolz, muss ich echt sagen, wirklich stolz. Ich möchte aber auch mich bei den Schülerinnen und Schülern bedanken, die uns heuer unterstützt haben und als rasende Reporter hier am Kongress unterwegs waren. Und deswegen habe ich auch schon wieder einen Schummelzettel, damit ich ja keine Schule vergesse. Unsere rasenden Reporter und Reporterinnen kamen heuer aus den Tourismusschulen Semmering, aus der Tourismusschule in der Wassermanngasse, der KTS in Villach, der HLF in Krems, der HLW 3 St. Franziskus, der Tourismusschule in der Bergheidengasse und aus dem Modul. Und dem Modul möchte ich insofern besonders danken, ich bin ja auch eine bekennende Ex-Schülerin des Moduls, aber weil sie uns auch hier die letzten Tage in der Hofburg mit dem Mittagsservice auch so tatkräftig unterstützt haben. Danke vielmals auch an euch alle, danke besonders an die Schülerinnen des Moduls und gemeinsam mit W24 haben sie einen Film für euch gemacht und den schauen wir uns jetzt gemeinsam an.
Mein Name ist Patrick, ich bin Student vom Modul.
Ein herzliches Grüß Gott aus der Wiener Hofburg. Wir sind hier am ÖHV-Kongress 2018.
Grüß Gott, meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren. Mein Name ist Alexander Salcher. Ich bin Schüler der KTS Villach.
Lorenz von der Tourismusschule HLW 3.
Mein Name ist Peter Knier, ich bin Schüler der Bergheidengasse.
Mein Name ist Markus Felbermeier, ich bin Schüler in den Tourismusschulen der HLF Krems.
Also mein Name ist Hanna Goganik und ich komme von den Kärntner Tourismusschulen.
Mein Name ist Maximilian Assmann und ich bin Schüler der Tourismusschulen am Semmering.
Ich habe jetzt hier auf meiner linken Seite meinen Lehrer stehen, den Herrn Harald Gruber.
Mein Name ist Patrick und ich bin Student beim Modul. Wir haben uns von den verschiedenen Schulen verschiedene Fragen, also verschiedene Themen.
Unsere Jobchancen bleiben wohl bis zum Ende unserer Tage bestehen.
Und ich bin froh, dass ich meinen zukünftigen Kollegen kennengelernt habe. Gell, mein Schatz?
Ja, genauso komisch.
Danke vielmals noch einmal an unsere rasenden Reporter und Reporterinnen. Und weil es so schön war am heurigen Kongress, möchte ich auch eure Vorfreude auf das kommende Jahr schüren, Ich darf mich nochmal bei euch bedanken, dass ihr da wart. Ich habe mich wirklich sehr gefreut, euch alle zu sehen. Und das ist jetzt die Aufgabe. Ihr dürft jetzt raten, wo wir uns nächstes Jahr treffen werden.
So Sie noch überlegen, um welches Bundesland es sich handelt, in dem das nächstes Jahr stattfindet, erschließt sich das vielleicht in der Vorstellung des nächsten Protagonisten, nämlich des neuen ÖHV-Landesvorsitzenden für Kärnten, Hubert Koller, dem ich jetzt das Wort übergebe. Bitte schön.
Liebe Kolleginnen, liebe Kollegen, es ist mir eine große Freude, mich hier als neuen ÖHV-Landesvorsitzenden von Kärnten präsentieren zu dürfen, bei so einem herrlichen Anlass mit der Faschingsgilde Villach die nächste Veranstaltung bekannt zu geben, quasi von der Hofburg in die Faschingshochburg nach Villach. Lei, lei.
Ja, liebe Kongressmitglieder oder Teilnehmer, bei uns heißt es ja Närrinnen und Narren. Ich darf Sie recht herzlich im Namen der Villacher Faschingsgilde begrüßen und wie es bei uns auch Brauch ist, mit einem kräftigen Villach! Hey! Villach! Hey! Villach! Hey! Da Sie ja jetzt schon eigentlich erschöpft nach 3 Tagen Kongress sein, wie ich gehört habe, haben wir uns als kleine Reise, Nahrung, ein paar Krapfen mitgebracht, die Sie draußen, wenn Sie rausgehen, von uns überreicht bekommen. Ich hoffe, Sie schmecken, es ist alles mit Kärntner Produkten gemacht worden. Ich übergebe nun das Mikro gleich weiter an unseren Prinzen.
Sehr verehrte Gäste, das Prinzenpaar an meiner Seite, die bezaubernde Eva Maria I. und meine Wenigkeit Prinz Fidelius der 63. möchten euch recht herzlich mit einem kräftigen Lei begrüßen. Herr Kapellmeister, ich darf bitten.
Während wir also in Wien im Jahr 2018 dann 4 Todestage feiern werden, wird es vielleicht in Kärnten wirklich launiger. Also nicht so wie der Herr Kettner uns angekündigt hat, dass das Jahr typischerweise in Wien ablaufen wird. Seien Sie gespannt, was dann das Generalthema sein wird 2019 in Villach. Diesmal war es ja eines, das sehr viel in Frage gestellt hat, nämlich Sie alle, uns alle, die wir als Menschen Dienst leisten in Hotels, sodass diese Dienstleistungen in Anspruch nehmen, wenn es die Roboter in dieser Form geben wird, wie wir sie da in der einen oder anderen Ausformung gesehen haben. Grundsätzlich natürlich ein Generalthema, das Angst machen kann, aber wie schon der Professor Hengstschläger gesagt hat, wir haben uns schon vor so vielem gefürchtet, das dann gekommen ist und sind damit einfach umgegangen. Aus gutem Grund hat er ja an dieser Stelle den Vortrag nicht beendet, sondern dazu appelliert, sich mit den Dingen, die dann danach kommen, auch noch zu beschäftigen, nämlich selbst diese Zukunft zu gestalten. Vielleicht war der eine oder andere Gedanke dabei in den vielen Vorträgen, den Sie mitnehmen können für Ihre ganz konkrete Arbeit. Vielleicht waren es auch nur so die einen oder anderen Begrifflichkeiten, mit denen man im Alltag, im Unternehmen gar nicht so viel zu tun hat und nicht dazu kommt, sich mit dem zu beschäftigen. Aber ich glaube, das hat einiges erläutert und das sind ja schon Ansätze, die dann vielleicht auch die Angst vor so manchen radikalen Umbrüchen, die uns da skizziert worden sind, nehmen kann. Ich wünsche Ihnen jedenfalls, dass Sie mit dem das einfließen lassen können in Ihre Arbeit und vor allem viel Erfolg bei Ihrer Arbeit im nächsten Jahr, sei es jetzt noch in der Wintersaison oder dann jedenfalls bis zum nächsten Jahr in Villach. Genießen Sie noch, so Sie Zeit haben, ein paar Minuten oder eine halbe Stunde hier, einen Krapfen zumindest zu nehmen oder eine kleine Stärkung auf dem Weg nach Hause und kommen Sie dann gut nach Hause, wo immer Sie heute noch hin müssen. Alles Gute und auf Wiederschauen.